Hey guys, welcome to today's reading. Today's reading is all about a message you need to hear. So what do you need to know right now? What do your guides, angels, and ancestors want you to be aware of? We're going to get into all of it. And today we have a beautiful selection of fast food items for you guys to choose from. So if it's your first time watching one of my readings, basically I do pick a card spiritual readings, but instead of just using cards, I often use fake food like today. So basically, you're going to make your mind up based on the item you feel the most drawn to and called to, just like you would pick for a normal pick card. So it might be one that just is drawing your attention in, that you just feel pulled to, magnetized to in some way, and then that will be the pile with the message for you. Once you make up your mind, you can scroll down to the timestamps and jump right into your reading. So I'm going to show you guys the numbers on each of the piles. So this is going to be pile number 1. Then we have pile 2. And finally pile 3, and I'll show you guys what they look like up close so you can make up your mind that way as well. So this is pile number 1. It's a little burger, super tiny. Then we have pile 2, and this one is a hot dog, again also super tiny, and it even has some pretty realistic lettuce. And finally pile 3, and this one is fries, French fries. So anyway, they all look really good. I also want to mention to you guys that I do have my Patreon up with a ton of additional readings. I just posted one all about how to improve your love life. So we get some actionable advice for you guys of how to get the love life you really want and are dreaming of, and channel some messages from spirit for you about how you should go about getting that, what changes you can make in your life to start making that happen. So it's a really good, helpful one. But as soon as you sign up for my Patreon, you get access to all my readings, so around 50 additional readings about all different kinds of topics: love, life, spirituality, career, relocation, money, 18+ readings, so many different topics, family, friends, lots of topics to choose from, and you can scroll through and see all the topics if you would like to join us over there. And like I said, as soon as you sign up, you get access to it all. So it's a pretty good price for 50 additional readings, I think, but we also vote on new ones. You guys suggest new ones, and then we film new ones. So it's a really great community over there, and I hope you will join us over at Patreon. The link for that is underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description. So I hope to see you guys there. And if you guys would like to get a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. Sign up for a half hour or a full hour-long session with me. Have me pull tarot for you, do your astrology, channel just mediumship, or channel intuitively. You get to kind of decide how it goes and ask me whatever questions, or just do open channeling, do a year ahead reading, a love reading, career reading, whatever the case may be. So if you'd like to get that, then head on over to my website, briarrosetarot.com. Link is in my description for that as well, and get a reading with me. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and let's jump into pile 1. Hey pile 1, so if you guys picked this burger, this is going to be your reading. They did so much detail on this, little sesame seeds at the top and all the little lines on the lettuce. It seriously looks good enough to eat. But anyways, guys, let's get into your cards. You guys got love, psychic abilities, transformation, and peace. And the word I kept hearing as I was drawing cards for this reading was ascension process. I feel like a lot of you guys in this pile, you're going through an ascension process right now. If you've been feeling drained physically, taxed, if you've been feeling exhausted and maybe like even been having trouble sleeping even though you're tired, or sleeping a lot lately, or having really heavy dreams, or just feeling like heavy walking around, I feel like so many of you guys are purging things. And it's funny because Pluto just moved into Aquarius, and Pluto literally rules waste, trash removal, plumbing, that kind of a thing, you know, waste removal basically. And so I feel like, you know, as that is happening and we're going under this massive transformation, Pluto moving into Aquarius, a lot of you guys are going to be hit hard by this maybe, and honestly letting go of a lot of things. There's a lot happening astrologically right now, and I feel like a lot of you guys are making a major release. Maybe past traumas might even be coming up in your mind, or you might have been highly emotional lately, crying a lot, or just feeling really down or just going through it, you know what I mean? And I feel like you need to know that this is really all for good. Like, I feel like some of these things were things you have been carrying for so long. And I just saw the image of someone like letting go of the super heavy suitcase, like this massive giant suitcase that they've just been lugging around. Maybe they didn't even notice it. Maybe they weren't even aware of how heavy it had gotten. And now it's like, oh my God, I let go of it. But obviously that process can sometimes be painful. The beginning stages of that, where you're recognizing maybe people who did you wrong, or kind of taking stock of situations that people didn't treat you very well, or where you've gotten hurt, is always going to be painful as those feelings come back up and start kind of getting re-agitated. It's almost like if you look at, you know, the bottom of a river or a lake and how it looks really clear. But if you were to go into it and start kicking around and stirring up the sediment, it would start swirling around and make the water really dark, and nothing bad is happening. But I almost feel like you guys, for a while, you just let that trauma kind of settle. Like it was what it was, and you were just very like, I'm not going to deal with this. And you know, maybe you didn't have the time in your life, maybe you didn't have the bandwidth to process all these things, and now you're in a place where you can. And so it's being kicked up now, and actually that's part of the process of purification. You know, you'd rather know, like, oh, actually this lake is kind of dirty and there's a bunch of someone dumped a bunch of garbage on the bottom of this lake, so let's start cleaning it out, rather than just being like, oh, it's such a pretty lake from the surface, and oh yeah, there's an old boot and like nasty old razor blades that someone put at the bottom because they didn't want to take it to the city dump, so they dumped it here. You know what I mean? Like, it's so much better to just clean it out and get rid of it, as difficult and painful as that process may be. And I do feel like on the other side, and it's funny because I pulled all the cards, didn't look at any of them, and so when I turned over this one, this was the first one I had pulled, and it was transformation. I was like, that is so perfect for pile one, because honestly, I feel like you guys are getting rid of so much emotionally for you. Like, I feel like some of this stuff that's coming up for you, it's not necessarily something that happened recently, but it's more like something that happened a while ago, but has been conjured up for you lately. Like, you've been emotional. You've been maybe randomly watching a romantic movie, and everyone in your friend group is like, oh, that's so sweet, and you're just crying. Or like, everyone is having fun on a night out and you're staring into the distance at the club, you know, like dissociating, and people are like, what the heck? Like, this, you should be happy. Like, this isn't sad. But I feel like a lot of this is stuff that is, you know, needing to go. Like, it's gotta go, because a lot of you guys are going to be entering into a way better era anyway. Like, I feel like on the other side of all this transformation, there's so many blessings. Oh my God, pile one. I'm actually so relieved and glad for you guys, because I can feel the heaviness of this in my bones. I can feel how exhausting it must have been to carry this around with you. And I just wish I could give you guys a big hug. But, you know, I feel like it's like, I'm so glad we're getting rid of it, because as much as you might not have gotten used to it, it's not good. It wasn't good for you to carry this. It's like I said, like maybe someone who's an environmentalist or something goes to a really polluted lake, and all the residents, they grew up around that lake, so they're like, no, it's normal. It's normal for water to smell really bad, and for it to be like purple in color, and also mixed with green, and kind of have a shiny oil reflective surface on the surface of it, and there's dead fish floating in it all the time. And the environmentalist is like, no, the heck it's not. Actually, this is not normal at all. And of course, there's, you know, people get used to it. And it's almost like you guys got used to swimming in a toxic lake, and you finally had an environmentalist come in and be like, no, we got to do something about this. We need to clean this up. And so I feel like that's the process you're going through, where, you know, it's not fun. It's not fun to go through that. It's not fun to do any cleanup. It's not fun to take out the sludge and pull out the dead fish bones. But I feel like it's going to be so much better on the other side. And some of this is healing relationship trauma for you guys. Some of this is healing, you know, attitudes you might have picked up in childhood about how relationships are, and how you relate in relationships, and what you deserve in relationships, and how it's okay for someone to talk to you. And now you're like letting go of that. Now you're like, actually, I deserve a lot more, and I'm gonna get more. And I deserve it. And I feel like this is really, really a positive thing, even if it doesn't seem like that. So this is a very special time, even though, again, it does not feel that way. I'm going to do, well, no, I pre-pulled these, so I'll do these, whatever these are. I haven't seen them yet. And then I'll do tarot next. Because you know I love the tarot, and especially for such a heavy reading, we're definitely going to have to get some cards. We got happy family, caring connections, door to personal healing and happiness, a man holding a heart, and magician and the mirror. So yeah, like I was saying, there's just such heavy duty work going on, and a lot of it is to prepare you, I think, for a romantic relationships, because these are two of the major romance cards in this deck. And I feel like a lot of you guys are, you know, a lot of this relates to relationships, family, caring connections, man holding a heart. So maybe this is preparing some of you guys to be better. Maybe you've been feeling lonely lately, or you have been taking stock of a certain relationship you've been in, be it a friendship, a romantic relationship, or a family member, and you're like, this just doesn't feel good, and I don't want to do this anymore. And that process, like I said, it's always really painful. It's always really painful to admit that someone doesn't love you anymore, or that the relationship just isn't working, or that you're kind of on your own, or that, yeah, like that stinks. But what stinks worse is staying in it. And for some of you guys, this might have to do with past relationships, like old exes you're still feeling attached to. And it feels like it could be even being stirred up on both sides. And maybe some of you guys need to hear that this other person is probably processing stuff from the relationship as well. You know, there's some really crazy transits that we're heading into. We're coming into some eclipses. So that always is going to be activating a lot. And these eclipses do aspect Pluto as well. So it's a very Plutonian energy happening in the universe right now. And Pluto is always going to reveal your deepest trauma, whatever you try to bury and keep in the past and kind of throw off to the side. Pluto is going to activate that. It's going to bring it up. It's going to mention everything and kind of bring it all out. And so that process, again, like as painful as it is, that process is the revealing of the trauma that was already there. It's not, Pluto will never reveal an untruth. So if it's revealing it, then that means that it was the truth. And that means that something in there had to be mentioned, had to be said, and needed to have some kind of a moment of revelation. And so I feel like that's honestly what you guys are doing right now, is you're kind of purging something that, or almost like a zit that, you know, it's been full of pus for a really long time and it needs to be popped or something like that, you know. And I feel like some of you guys didn't even realize how bad this had gotten, but now you're kind of finally becoming more aware of it. And I just keep getting the vibe that this is definitely from the past. It feels like a lot of this stuff happened a while ago, but it's almost like you were just in survival mode and you couldn't deal with it at the time for whatever reason. Maybe you had to focus on work or other things, but you just didn't process it. And now it's coming up now. And it is worth noting that this upcoming eclipse is going to be at 29 degrees of Aquarius. So if you guys have placements in the later degrees of Aquarius, you could definitely feel this really strongly. And the early degrees of Aquarius, Aquarius is getting hit hard by this energy right now. So if you have placements in the very early first degrees of Aquarius, up to like 4 degrees of Aquarius, and then the later degrees of Aquarius, as well as those same aspects within the other fixed signs, so Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio. So early or late Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, then you're going to feel this energy really, really strong, natal planets. But everyone is going to be affected by this collective energy right now. I just feel like it's affecting you guys so intensely with this purging thing that's happening with you guys. Let's get into some of the tarot. Spirit, please give me some messages about pile 1 and what they're going through. We got the 8 of Pentacles. What are they going through right now? What do they need to hear? Some of you guys might be feeling kind of unempowered right now, or feeling like what you're doing isn't really that special or important, or kind of feeling a little hopeless about what you've been up to. You might be feeling like everything you put effort into isn't actually happening the way you thought it would, relationships, work, whatever. And you might be honestly questioning the kind of path you're on and thinking, is it worth it? Or just being in a little bit of a funk. And I feel like there's a breakthrough on the other side of this energy. It's almost like this energy you're in right now, there's a lot of things that have to go. There's a lot of things you guys have got to get rid of to start this new path of the journey. Look how many reversals we're getting. I feel like this reversal energy is being straightened out for you guys. And we got the Lover. So again, this heavy energy of love. So this really might have to do with your relationship sector. If feelings of feeling alone lately have come up, or feelings of missing a past relationship, you might even be reprocessing relationships that happen and questioning whether the person really treated you as well as they should have, or questioning the energy you put into certain relationships. You might be, because I keep hearing the song lyric from Taylor Swift where she says, "I brought a knife to a gunfight, they took the crown, but it's all right." And it feels very dejected, the energy right now. It feels very like, wow, I did all this work, or I put all this energy into this person, and for nothing, and for what, and what did I get out of it? And they never valued me, and they never appreciated me. And I feel like some of you guys were giving your all to relationships or to people who never did value you, and that's not an indication of you or your worth. It's an indication of their lack of vision. Just like Dita Von Teese says, you could be the ripest, juiciest peach in the world, and there's still going to be someone who doesn't like peaches. Think of how many times maybe like a super amazing fashion house will show their collections and everyone will mock it or make fun of it. That's just like the norm, because it's not for everyone, and you don't have to get it to make that item super valuable and a lot of people who also want it. So someone can think it's the ugliest thing in the world, there's still going to be plenty of people who want it. And the funny thing is, we sometimes give our power away to others, and we let their vision of us or the amount of work they're willing to put in define our self-worth. And some of you guys have been trying to put in work to relationships with people who might not have even healed their own shadow work, who might not even have worked on themselves, and might be such a mess and a disaster. And I feel like a lot of you guys are processing that. Like, it's almost like, wow, why did I waste my energy? And what a waste of time. And I just feel really sad. Like, that's the vibe I'm getting from you guys, is kind of like, what was the point of this? And why did all of this have to happen? But again, I feel like this energy was existing for a really long time before now. And a lot of you guys were just not wanting to see it before. Or maybe you were trying to put on rose-colored glasses and hope for everything to work out and hope for the best. And now you're kind of left with the revelation of what it is. But I feel like this is such a powerful transformation for you guys to step into your power and into your energy, and no longer give it away to people who really don't deserve it and don't have your best interests at heart. And I really do feel like the work you're putting in now is going to take you guys to much higher levels, and is going to give you the kind of relationships you really want, the kind of success you really want. A lot of you guys are being encouraged right now to work through your negative relationship patterns, any childhood trauma, any existing dysfunction in the relationship sector. I feel like you guys are really having it be removed from you. You guys are having it unspooled and kind of untangled. And like I said, that process is really powerful, but it's really going to allow you to align yourself with the kind of love and the kind of relationships you want. Sometimes, the most powerful part of the journey is also the most painful. It's when we realize we got really lost. I've told you guys before about the time I was hiking in Virginia in the middle of summer, and it was so beautiful, so gorgeous. I love that part of the country in summer because it gets so overgrown with just green. It's so verdant, and it was in the mountains of Virginia, like they're really foggy and cloudy, and they're just so beautiful. And I'm hiking, and I thought I took the right path, but I realized after a long time that I had not. And in fact, I had taken, I don't even know what, the trail was really overgrown. I guess it was not used a lot, but you couldn't really see. I remember that point, the fork, where like I was like, wait, do I go that way? Is that the trail? Is that the trail? And then I was just like, oh, I think that's the trail, I'll take it. And by the time I realized you're not on the trail, I was hopelessly lost. And it was really scary, because I realized then how necessary trails are, because it was way harder like hacking my way through the underbrush than I ever thought it would be. And that's my point, is like, it stinks to realize, oh, I went the wrong way. That moment is really, really scary. But what's worse is continuing on. Like, I think I had had moments where I was like, this is this still the trail? But I kept trying to tell myself, like, no, 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 yeah, this is the trail. You were following the trail. This is fine. Because I didn't want to admit, oh no, you really messed this one up. You took the wrong path and you need to walk your way back and slowly pick your way through, because that's kind of boring. So I was just like, I'm just going to keep going until I was like completely lost and almost hiked into someone's backyard, which was scary because, like, in Virginia, you don't know if someone's going to have a gun or what they could have. But anyway, I eventually found my way back. But the thing is, it was pretty frightening. And I think even though it stinks, it's so much better to admit I took the wrong path. I went the wrong way. I need to fix this. I need to address this. And I feel like that's kind of the point you guys are at right now, is you're kind of taking note of things that you've had in your life that you really don't want, that you really actually might have settled for or might have tried to make the best of, but it wasn't really what you wanted for yourself. And as much as it stinks to notice that, that's a really important part of the manifesting process. So your guides are also reminding you that you have so much power. Maybe you guys aren't even feeling it right now. With the Queen of Wands, you might be feeling really unempowered, and you might even be feeling unattractive. You might be feeling like, oh, you know what? I don't really look good. I'm never going to find someone who loves me or whatever. And your guides want you to know, like, what a joke that is, and that you guys are so gorgeous, so attractive. You could have so many different people. And the thing is, when you're manifesting, though, you've got to figure out what you really want, and you've got to put your eyes on the prize and really focus on it. So if you want a relationship, you've got to actively think about that, actively welcome that energy in, actually start preparing for it. And maybe, going on online dating, or start going out to restaurants and introducing yourself to people and asking people out. You can't just be like, oh, I want this, and then let me just chill and just wait for it to fall into my lap. So I feel like a lot of you guys right now, the feeling you're in, as much as it stinks, it's going to align you with actually getting you what you want in the future. Let's see if we have any other messages for pile 1. The Hanged Man. Yeah, you guys are in this moment right now. Hanged Man moment where you're kind of realizing that this situation, it seems like there's some kind of a situation you feel like you might have misread, and that maybe you thought you liked the path you were on, but now you realize you didn't like it. Or maybe you thought you liked the relationship you were in, or you had a connection to an old ex or something, and now you're like, oh my God, why was I waiting for them? And it's okay to be in this moment. As much as it's hard, you guys are doing the right thing by questioning this, by unpacking all of it, and by creating kind of like a new life for yourself, which is what I feel like you guys are doing. Whether you're aware of that now and able to fully see like exactly what you're building, I feel like it's so clear. It's almost like right now I'm hearing pivot in my mind. Like you guys are moving yourself into the right position, even though it may not feel that way. Look, I think the sun just got a lot brighter suddenly. That's the perfect way to, capture the energy of this reading. And we also got the 9 of Cups ending it. So again, there's a really positive feeling on the other side of this, but kind of a little bit of a dark night of the soul you're going through that's really making you aware of maybe some of your flaws even, or the things you need to change, or the things that haven't been going so good. Let's get some message cards for pile 1, Spirit. What messages do you want them to know? Wow, deep inward journey. You'll be rewarded for the work. And that's really what I'm feeling, is like, this is such important, valuable work that you guys are doing right now. This is going to benefit you so much, pile 1. I can't say it enough. Like, this is going to be something that I think at the end of the day, you're like, wow, I'm so glad I went through that period. Yeah, it was painful as heck, and I don't want to go back to that, but I'm so glad I did it. We also got your purpose is personal expansion. How can you be more intentional with your choices and live with more purpose? And this is not your practice life. Decide, what is your inner voice telling you about the dream in your heart? And sometimes this is the most painful part of the journey, is sometimes I think a lot of people, they decide their dreams based on what they think is like easily achievable for them, so maybe they don't actually want that life, but maybe that life seems out of reach for them, and so instead of actually going for what they want, they kind of settle, and they're just like, well, I'll just settle down with this person I don't really like that much. Or the opposite, I'm just not even going to try to date because someone like me doesn't deserve a relationship. I'm going to push everyone away. You know what I mean? And then they can end up very unhappy with their life choices later on because they didn't have their arrow aligned with what they wanted. That's why Sagittarius is the sign of the archer and the arrow, and pointing it to what you want. And it's funny because Sagittarius relates to Jupiter, God energy. And so the thing about it is, like, it is really a spiritual practice to picture exactly what we want and to know what we want. And I almost feel like for some of you guys, it's painful because you're admitting that something maybe you told yourself for a really long time you didn't want, or like, I don't care. I don't care if that happens. I don't care if I get that promotion or not, or I don't care if I fail out of that job, or I don't care if I I don't care if I'm single, but like, you're realizing now you do care. Or I don't care if this relationship isn't perfect, I'm happy. And now you're realizing, like, no, this isn't good enough and I'm not happy and I'm kind of miserable. And it's okay, because the thing is, you have constant power at any point to change your destiny, to change the energy up, and to go in a new direction. And I feel like that's what you guys are doing right now. You are changing and expanding yourself to have something that I think is going to be a lot greater, something that you're really happy with. Let me get some astrology dice for pile one. Spirit, what do you want them to know right now? So we got the 5th house, Pisces, and we got the sun. That's really interesting, because that's one thing I was kind of just thinking about when it comes to you guys is as I was talking to you, I was also thinking of this, but I didn't say it. But the 5th house and the sun are definitely, they're related. And it's Leo energy, which is all about shining your light super brightly and being your most honest and authentic self. And for some of you guys, this is a message that there were things you maybe wanted to do, try, achieve, but you were afraid of the judgment of others. It might even be putting yourself out there in some way, because that's really what is so admirable about Leo, is their willingness to constantly put themselves out there for judgment. Like, they don't care if you don't like them. They don't care if you think what they're doing is cringe. They're going to still try to perform. They're going to still try to shine themselves as brightly as they can. And if you don't like it, Leo still feels a soul need and urge to perform and to kind of serve the collective in that way by shining their light so brightly and being creative. A lot of times they're involved in creative fields like acting, singing, art in some way, painting or photography or whatever, writing. Those kinds of things are things Leos excel at because they're so creative, and a lot of their creative abilities literally come as spiritual downloads from God. So they're a very spiritual sign as well. And so I feel like for a lot of you guys, maybe this is even about putting yourself out there in some way and no longer being afraid of the judgment of others, and no longer letting yourself be held back by, oh, this person wouldn't like it, or that person might think it's lame, or this person might think it's weird, or this person might not get it and they might think it's cringe. And you're kind of at a place now where you're like, I don't really care what they have to say or what they think. And with Pisces coming through as well, it could be that a lot of these downloads and inspirations you're having are guidance from spirit, and it's a spiritual pursuit, because Pisces is also a highly, highly creative sign. And I think all creativity comes from spirit. Pisces relates very heavily to spirituality and psychic abilities. So a lot of times the creative inspiration Pisces feels is like direct downloads they get from the other dimension. And so I feel like for some of you guys, maybe this disappointment with where you're at in life is because you haven't tried something that you really are supposed to try. And if it's something spirit put in your heart or something spirit wants you to do, spirit's going to keep tugging on you and keep pushing you and keep making it difficult and kind of ramping up the pressure until you're willing to give in. So, it might be worth thinking about whatever this is, whatever spirit is putting in your heart or bringing up now as a desire or as an unhappiness with your life, of like, oh my God, I can't believe I never did X, Y, Z. I can't believe I never traveled to Bali, or I can't believe I never, put myself out there on TikTok the way I felt like I should, or I can't believe I never published my writing, or had a deep relationship that was blah blah blah, or got married or had kids or whatever the case may be. You know, that might be something that you need to know. You absolutely still have time. You can absolutely still make that happen. That time in your life, it's not like it's over and it's a dead end and that's it and this is final. You have endless opportunities to make exactly the life you want. And so, yeah, I feel like that's what your guides want you to know is like, it's not over. It still isn't over. That quote from the Notebook, but it's you know, there's still so many chances. And it's so funny how someone's life can change in a day. Someone's life can change in a year. Someone's life can change within a few months. And now more than ever, we have endless opportunities to change the cycle we're in, to empower ourselves in so many different ways, in so many different outlets. So I think your guides just really want you to know that if you're feeling stuck right now, if you're feeling like where you're at is not somewhere that's pleasant or somewhere you're happy with, like, you can get out of this, you can change this, and you have so much power to create exactly the dream life that you always wanted, pile one. And a lot of the creation of a dream life, though, is based on really doing the shadow work, unpacking, dealing with the traumas, dealing with the cleansing energy that we have to go through. As annoying as it is, as frustrating as it can be, and as painful, it's ultimately so much better for us. And I think you guys are going through that right now. And I'm so excited to see the beautiful life you guys are going to create on the other side of this, because what you're doing right now is really amazing. So anyways, guys, I really hope it resonated with you. I really hope it helped. Let me know if it did in the comments. I really love hearing from you guys. So I would love to know your thoughts on the reading. Also, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. Give this reading a like if it did resonate with you. And make sure to subscribe and turn those notifications on, hit the bell so you can find out as soon as I post. And if you guys would like to see more of my readings, then head on over to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. Just posted one all about how you can improve your love life. So actually that would be a perfect reading for you guys. And we get some really good actionable advice on how to have the love life you've always wanted. So we channel some really great actionable advice from Spirit for you guys. But as soon as you sign up, you get access to all my readings. So about 50 additional readings about life, love, spirituality, career, relocation, money, 18 plus readings, so many different topics. We also vote and suggest new you guys suggest them and vote on new topics. So it's very interactive. There's a lot to do over there. And I really hope you guys will join us. The link for that is underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description. And like I said, as soon as you sign up, you get access to everything. So I hope I will see you guys over there joining our little party at Patreon. And if you guys would like to get a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and sign up for a half hour or a full hour-long session with me. Ask me questions, have me read tarot for you, channel for you, mediumship tarot channeling or intuitive channeling, pull tarot, do your astrology, all of it. You can do a year ahead reading, you can do a love reading, a career reading. Ask me whatever questions you'd like within reason. But yeah, there's lots of different possibilities. So if you guys would like to get a reading with me, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com. Link is in my description for that as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm sending you so much love and light, you guys. A big, extra big hug to you guys. Pile one. I know you guys are going to get through this and just have such an amazing, amazing life and existence on the other side of this. So anyways, guys, I will see you soon and talk to you then. Bye. Hey Pile 2, welcome to your reading. So if you guys picked this hot dog, this is going to be your reading. So much detail on this. I love the little lettuce leaves, and the bun looks super realistic as well. It's kind of fluffy on the side. But anyways, guys, let's get into your cards. So you guys got dreams, friendship, fertility, and courage. So some of you guys might be in certain relationships now, or even reflecting on past relationships and realizing that certain people didn't treat you that well, or that you haven't gotten the respect that you've deserved. I feel like some of you guys might be in the process of discarding certain friendships, or just looking back with a little bit of sadness as to how you guys have been treated. And there's a message for you guys in pile 2 that some of the people around you are very intimidated by your power and the potential they feel from you. So they feel this force, they feel this strength coming from you, and maybe it triggers their own insecurity, the idea of you fully living out your potential and fully stepping up to be as powerful as you possibly could be isn't necessarily something they want to see, because I feel like a lot of them see your power, see your force, see the way you stand out of the crowd, and it's almost making them compare themselves to you, or them feel sadness about them not going after their own dreams, or them not having the force of nature that you guys have to make yourself stand out in the way you do, because it feels like you have all the potential in the world to achieve your dreams, to do these certain things. And some of these people, I feel like you considered them as friends. You considered them to be people who were quite close to you, people you really trusted, people you opened up to. And I feel like there's some pain in the process of realizing that like they never really did have your back, and they never really did get you. Maybe they pretended to like you, pretended to enjoy you, but it was never fully there. And so I feel like some of you guys, maybe you've been backstabbed by some of these people. They could be coworkers, friends, family members, or it might not even be that this person had super negative energy towards you, but maybe they just wanted to keep you small, keep you in a box. Maybe they felt more comfortable and they were like afraid that you would embarrass yourself if you put yourself out there. Maybe they just didn't have the vision that you had. But I do feel like there's almost been like oppressive forces around you that, like I said, wanted you to kind of stay small. Maybe they just have a small vision. Maybe it's just that, they have a certain level of expectations for themselves and you have bigger dreams. And there's totally nothing wrong with that. We get to choose how we live our life, and there's no wrong answer. So, within reason, but if you want to, have a super traditional life, you can. If you want to have a super Aquarian, avant-garde, like groundbreaking life, you can. I'm not hating on either direction, but they might not have had the vision you had or the belief you had, because it feels like a lot of you guys in pile 2, you guys want to dream big, you want to accomplish something. And I feel like some of you guys are kind of in a process of maybe focusing on like, why didn't that person love me enough? Or why didn't they have my back? Or why didn't they get me? Why did they always undermine me? Or why did they make little digs? Or like, why? And trying to unpack it, trying to get your head around it. And I feel like you need to know that like you're never going to fully understand it, because it's just not in your heart and your character to hate on someone. You would never try to hold someone back from their fate, from their destiny, from what is meant for them. But maybe this person just felt a little insecure with you around. And I feel like you should, in a way, take that as a compliment. Take the way they might have tried to hold you back as a compliment. I'm hearing some of you guys stuck out like a sore thumb. So maybe even this is not one person you were super close to, but it might have been a collective group of like coworkers or classmates or friends. But I feel like a lot of them just didn't get you, didn't understand you, like didn't know what you were doing. Maybe even thought it was a bit weird or strange or Aquarian and unconventional. And I feel like you need to know that they're going to finally understand it in the end when they see you guys do what you're going to do. And a lot of the time when someone is sticking out like a sore thumb, it's because they have something special about them. They have something undefinable, like as the French say, je ne sais quoi, hard to put into words, but something special and other and unique that makes them stand out and all eyes turn to them. And I feel like you need to know that that's okay. And you're probably never going to get the approval from these people. You're never going to get the validation from these people. It might even be past relationships where you're like, why didn't this person step up to the plate for me? Why didn't they reach out to me? Or why didn't they, love me the way I needed to be loved? Why didn't they treat me good in the relationship, or whatever the case may be? And I feel like it's almost like you keep waiting. You keep waiting for some people to treat you right, treat you the way they should have. And I feel like you need to know that you're probably never going to get it, just not because you're not worthy worth it, but because they don't have the vision to see, and they know the only way you can stay with them is for you to keep yourself small. I feel like a lot of you guys are also maybe reminiscing on certain people, certain relationships. Maybe you have had suddenly a lot of memories come up. You know, Pluto just transited into Aquarius, so we're all feeling the crazy effects of a Pluto change in signs, which is very rare. It doesn't happen often because of Pluto transits. So we're all feeling the effects of this, and Pluto is a water sign, so it does have to do with memories and reminiscences and stuff like that. So I feel like for a lot of you guys, you know, maybe this is just memories from the past or thinking on past relationships, and if it is, that's okay. Pluto is also waste disposal, so it's literally like plumbing, pipes, sewers, trash, and whatnot. So sometimes it can be things that we're letting go of, removing from our life, purging from our life. And maybe these are relationships that are kind of falling out finally in your life and they need to go, but they're kind of making a lot of noise on the way out. But I feel like for you guys, you need to know that like there's so much potential inside of you and that your guides can see it. And if you don't hear the validation from others, that might even mean it's even bigger and stronger. Like I'm thinking of a little girl performing at like a school recital, and she's on stage, and you know how sometimes you do like a mediocre job and everyone will start clapping for you and applauding for you, but if someone is like a showstopper and amazing, a lot of times people will be like silent and they'll be like, oh, they probably know they're really good. Like I know for me, I was really bad at math, but like I would always get so much feedback about like, no, you're good at math. No, 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 I think you're great. No, you did a great job on that test. But then on the other hand, I was actually really good at English, and I would never hear myself praised in that because I think people had a higher bar for me. So I almost feel like for some of you guys, you never got the validation of knowing how special you are. You never really got to hear that this is why sometimes people have been standoffish to you, or why sometimes people have been catty to you in friend groups, or why sometimes people have been acting weird towards you. It's because you guys stick out like a good way. And I feel like people don't have the words to tell you, or they might not feel comfortable being like, by the way, you're freaking amazing. It might conjure up feelings of insecurity inside of them where they see you as such a star that they're like, of course they know. And you know what? They're probably arrogant on top of it. I'm not going to tell them they did a good job. You know what I mean? I feel like there's an energy about that around you guys. And I feel like a lot of you guys in pile two, you guys are very sweet souls who like, you're very shocked by that because you're like, I would tell someone, I would give that to them. But I feel like you need to know that not everyone has your heart or your grace or your power and confidence in yourself, because your confidence is real and it's based off of the truth. You genuinely are gifted and you genuinely are talented, and not everyone is. So some of you guys need to kind of take your energy and your attention away from some of these toxic people and really focus it on yourself and really focus it on your life. It's totally okay to like go over these events in your mind and think back on the past, and it can be a part of the purging process. But I also feel like you need to know that you know, not to spend too much time or dwelling too long on these things, because a lot of it is stuff you're supposed to get rid of. A lot of it is stuff that isn't even going to be relevant into your future. You're going to not even be bothered by these people when it comes to like 5 years down the line, 10 years, you might even laugh about it. So yeah, I feel like in a way it's like, take it as a compliment that some of these people are hating on you, or that they find you rude or weird or whatever they can, not rude, but like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes people easily take offense to you, pile two. And I feel like in a way, sometimes people passive aggressively may take offense or be like, oh, pile two is too loud, or pile two is too this, or pile two is too much, or of course pile two thinks they're the queen and they tried to tell us all what to do. And you're like, I wasn't telling you what to do. I was trying to help you organize, or something like that. And a lot of it is their own insecurities because they're comparing themselves to you and they know they kind of don't measure up to you, pile two. And I mean that not to be mean, but it is true. Like I feel like when it comes to their energy, the special energy around them and around you, they just don't measure up, and you're up here and they're kind of up down there. And not to say, you know, I'm speaking purely of energy here. Your energy is very special, pile two, and a lot of people probably covet it and are jealous of it. To me, you're feeling like you guys are also very mischievous, a lot of fun to be around. You guys probably like laugh a lot, or you're just fun. You have a sparkle to you. And I feel like you're going to attract a lot of people who just can't handle it and honestly kind of wish they were you. Okay, so let's get into more of the oracle cards and then I'll pull tarot. We got rest and relaxation, action, goddess of the moon, hostilities, and this one is caring connections. So yeah, a lot of people might also be jealous of your charisma with like the opposite sex, the way so many people notice you, the way I feel like a lot of people crush on you. And I feel like some of you guys have literally had friendships where you've been stabbed in the back, or even family members. A lot of it is, I'm not gonna lie, due to your physical attraction piled to, and to the way you present yourself, your innate beauty and the beauty of your energy around you. Because you have this energy around you, a lot of you guys have attracted people from the opposite sex, or if you're into like the same gender, then you've attracted other people from that, you know, from that same group. But I feel like a lot of people are, you know, competing with you romantically. Like they would love to be able to get the kind of romantic attention you get. They would love to have eyes on you in the way you walk into a room and heads turn. They would love to have people drawn to you, drawn to them the way they're drawn to you. So these are like competitors romantically speaking. So whoever you're into, whatever you're competing with, a lot of that is energy coming from these types of people. And I feel like they might pass themselves off as friends, or they might pretend that they really enjoy you. It might even be someone you don't even think of as a romantic rival. Like it might be like, you know, this is weird, but like your mom is really competitive with you about men, but she would never tell you that. But if you were like, oh my gosh, this guy asked me out, maybe she would start telling you about like, well, back in my day, I was always asked out to the football games or something like that. And you're like, that's weird that I can't even tell one story about like a cute guy asking me out without having to hear like 10 stories about being asked out in like the 1980s, you know, or something. I feel like there's a lot of comparison towards you, and it's almost like you never had a fair shake. Some of these people, they never were ever open to you, or they never ever saw you as like, they always I think you need to know a lot of these people always had bad intentions towards you. And again, it might not even be people competing with you romantically, because I keep getting like jealous or competitive parent vibes. And you know, when someone's very emotionally immature, they'll compete with you about anything. They'll be jealous of you about anything. Like it's deranged behavior. They'll be jealous of you, as I've said before, because you have like an extra cockroach in your house and they only have one and you have two, you know, like literally anything they will be jealous of. Have you ever like parked your car and you're gonna walk into the grocery store, and it's almost like you see someone like suddenly in your periphery speed walking past you to get to the cart first, and you're like, dude, chill, it's like Tuesday at 1 p.m. There's a line of 100 carts. You can get there first. I don't care. There's no grand prize. You know what I mean? Like, to me, at least as a Pisces, I'm not a fire sign, so I'm not going to be speed walking into the grocery store. But you know, I know fire signs, sometimes they're like, sure, that's fun, we'll compete for funsies. But you know, my point is, there's a lot of people who will compete with you over nothing, and they don't have good intentions. They're not just doing it for fun. They just are so insecure that like they can't even stand the idea of you reaching the carts before them to go shop for like frozen hot dogs, you know? So that's the thing, is a lot of you guys don't realize that you come off kind of like a star. You come off with a very powerful energy around you, and I feel like you have a lot of people that kind of have hostilities towards you. And it might be like family members, friends, but especially like parents as well, who might sometimes not work through their own trauma and might even resent that they had to like take care of you, or resent that you would take emotional work. I do feel like you have people around you that kind of act nice, or might even seem really nice to you, but they kind of wish they were you. And if they could like snap their fingers and take your place, they would. They would try to be you. Some of you guys have people around you who are like that level of jealous, where they truly would trade places with you in an instant, and they might approach you in a way that seems really nice, seems really friendly, but they might be trying to kind of steal your energy away, or try to kind of make you pay attention to them in some weird twisted thing of like wanting to bogart your attention and steal your attention from you. So they're going to act all nice and have an excuse to talk to you or something like that. But I do feel like you're kind of learning how to have better discernment with a lot of these people, and you're learning to have your guard up a lot more. And I feel like that's a really good thing. Let me get some tarot cards as well. But yeah, I feel like you need to take this as a big compliment, as a sign of your potential, pile two. You need to take it as like, wow, if this is how they feel about me, I'm doing pretty dang good. If they honestly feel this insecure when I walk into the room, wow, my power is incredible. Because that's really what it is. A lot of you guys have so much power around you. And I feel like the only bad thing is some of you guys aren't holding yourselves back from fully stepping into it. And your guides want you to have a lot more courage and to see the power and potential in you that everyone else sees, and take it as a good thing. But let's get some tarot and see what the tarot has to say. Oh my God. And that's why I love doing a live pull, so you can see that the Six of Wands just popped out. That is so perfect for this energy. I was literally just channeling about some of you guys needing to step into this, because I feel like it's like you need to show yourself to the world a little bit more and be willing to step into it. Because if everyone else sees your power like this, why are you holding yourself back? Because there is a need for you to have a lot more courage with it. And I feel like some of you guys, like, you have so much potential. You're a little bit of a star. That a lot of people are drawn to you. But at the end of the day, you kind of hold yourself back from it. You don't want to seem, maybe because you have some trauma over this, like maybe your whole life you have picked up, even subconsciously, on this competitive vibe others have of you. Maybe your whole life you have sensed that people get weird and they're like, oh, well, pile two, them. They're always getting all the guys to have a crush on them. And like fake jokes and passive aggression, or like, pile two, they always have to, they have such a singing voice, so they always have to take the center stage role in the musical theater. And you get like these digs directed at you, so you started internalizing them and taking on this message of like, let me hold myself back, let me make myself a little bit smaller, let me not get all dressed up when we go out to the club. I know my friend is going to get dressed up, but if I get dressed up, I'll be a showstopper, so I'm just going to let her take the lead so she doesn't get insecure. And one thing you guys need to realize is that appeasing anyone who's jealous of you is, first of all, never going to work unless you like literally made yourself so small and tiny and came in and like a freaking covered in mud. You know how sometimes they'll have those like ads for games? I'm seeing that in my mind, where like they'll be like, give this character a makeover, and she always starts out like wearing a barrel and like covered in mud and like flies buzzing around their head, and then you like press a button and she switches into a princess gown. I'm seeing that. It's such a funny image, but I'm seeing the opposite. I'm seeing someone in a princess gown swapping themselves out so that they're covered in mud. And I feel like some of you guys do that. Obviously not literally, but some of you guys are not fully stepping into your destiny because you're like afraid of the judgment. You have let it, even if you tried not to and you've tried to block it out, you have let it get to you to a certain extent, where you're like, yeah, I don't want to audition for that role because, I don't really need it. Or like, no, let her, you can have him. No, that's fine. No, I know he was into me first, but like, it's, what, I want you to date him because God bless, and you can have that. Or giving someone money all the time who doesn't really deserve it or reciprocate it, or giving your energy away, or dressing down, or not wanting to put yourself out there as much, or not putting yourself on social media when you have been feeling called to, or not sharing your gift with the world in some way. Something about that, you know what I mean? Something about holding yourself back and not wanting that spotlight or limelight as a result of like trauma of feeling like if you did fully take the limelight and the spotlight, that you would get so much hate from the people around you. So you'd rather just keep yourself small. You rather wouldn't even try. You'd rather just kind of let them have it, let them take it. Even keeping people around who are like passive aggressive towards you, who might make digs to you, who might not even appreciate or get your personality. Another negative dynamic that can happen with this kind of a thing is maybe the person isn't like deliberately asking you to hold yourself back, but maybe they're constantly making digs to you to undermine your self-confidence. So maybe when you make a joke and everyone thinks of you as like a funny, witty person, but instead of them laughing every time, they'll like roll their eyes and be like, oh my, I know you always have to make a joke out of it, but it's like, no, but they're legitimately funny. Pile two is really funny and everyone else knows it. And you're just mad because you're not that funny. And a lot of narcissists are like that. They are drawn towards people with a bright light towards them. But then when that person starts really glowing, they can't stand it. So they will do whatever they can do to kind of try to tamp down that light, try to snuff it out a little, try to make them insecure, try to make them hold back. So you guys need to have the mental wherewithal and the fortitude to stick to your guns and to be like, you know what? I'm going to glow as bright as I can. And I don't care what these people say, and I don't care what they have to think, because this is my path, my life, my destiny. I only get one. So it's not about what that person thinks, what that person says, what that person, opinion may be, or what they might not even be being honest with themselves. They might be like, yeah, that's really lame that you have a cooking TikTok account. Like, who do you think you are, Julia Child or something? But you know what I mean? Actually, what it is deep down, they know there's so much potential with your cooking TikTok, and they don't want to see you step into your power. They want to keep you small. And they might be. With the Five of Pentacles coming out next, this might be a message that, like, you not willing to step into your destiny and shine as bright as possible. And it doesn't have to mean opening a TikTok account, but it could be that at work, you're not fully putting yourself out there and doing the work to the level you can and really stepping into it and really leaning in. Instead, you're kind of holding back. But you need to give yourself full energetic permission to shine as bright as possible and to like do this thing. Like, let's go. Let's not do it halfway. Let's do it all the way or not at all. But I feel like so many people see your gift, see your power, see your potential, Paltu, and that's what's riled up some jealousy in others. That might have been a habitual, lifelong thing that you've always had to deal with. Oh my God. And we have another card all about that, the World, which is about, showing yourself to the world to a certain extent. And it also relates to Aquarius. So again, this energy of you guys showing yourself and being as bright as possible and being a little bit different, because Aquarius energy is very different and it tends to stand out of the crowd and it tends to be a little off or weird. So maybe this is another trauma, is throughout your life you might have been called off or weird, or had people tell you like, I think that's a little strange what you're doing, or I don't really get that, or like, oh, pile two, they're always dressed like they have their unique fashion sense, but it's because they want to make you insecure enough so that you go inside the box and you don't stand out the way you have. And I feel like a lot of these people just can see that if you were to really lean into this, that there's such a huge chance of success. The World card denotes a mission completed, success. It's done. And I feel like a lot of people see that you really could step into your wildest dreams. And for some of you guys, it's being watched by a lot of people. Another interesting thing about the World card is it actually has all the fixed signs represented on it. So we have Aquarius, we also have Scorpio, we have Leo, we have Taurus, and it's also ruled by Saturn. So all those energies combined, once they set their mind on something, they're not going to ever back off. Fixed signs are super, super stubborn. That's what they're really known for above everything. And once they set their mind on something, they're not going to change it. They're not going to be affected by anyone else's energy. They're not a mutable sign. They're not going to be like, well, this person said, well, they kind of want, okay, I won't. And I feel like you're really being called to figure out what you want and to stop giving some of these other people air supply in your head and letting them kind of live rent free in you, because the thing about the fixed signs is if you tell them not to do something or you tell them you don't like it, like they could not possibly care less. That's why Leo is going to continue always to be the center of attention, even though people hate on them for it. Aquarius, if you tell them, I think what you're wearing is really weird, they'll take it as a compliment. Taurus, if they like something, if they like food or they want to take a nap or whatever, they're just going to be going ahead and doing it. And of course, nobody tells Scorpio what to do. And I feel like you kind of need some of this energy of like, I'm going to put my mind on the prize and I'm not going to let these people live rent free anymore and steer my path or my direction. I'm going to know what I want and what's good for me. And I'm going to shine as bright as I can and no one can get in the way of that. And also we have Saturn backing this energy up, which is not a fixed sign. Capricorn is not a fixed sign, but it's also very stubborn, very eyes on the prize, very I'm gonna do this and no one can tell me what to do and that's it. And I feel like a lot of you guys need that energy. What's coming to my mind is a quote by Migos, where they say, put my mind on it, then I put my grind on it. I love that quote from Ric Flair Drip. And actually, Ric Flair is a really great example of this, because Ric Flair is like super kind of very a different wrestler. And when he came on the scene back in the day, people would always get mad at him for being too bombastic and loud and obnoxious. And he's definitely those things, but he had this really special, iconic quality. And he could have like stopped and changed his style to be like other wrestlers, to be a lot like gentler speaking, or to be kind of like more inside the box, but he stayed extremely weird. And he's actually a Pisces Aquarius balance, so I think definitely weird kind of describes him. And he says kind of outlandish Piscean things, and then he's also an Aquarian. And I feel like a lot of you guys are kind of being called to follow that, because that is the energy of someone that's really just paying attention to the downloads they're getting from spirit and from God, and not so much listening to what anyone else has to say. And of course, now he's iconic, and a lot of rappers love him and give shout outs to him. And what other rappers from like, or wrestlers from the 1970s or 80s does anyone even care about, you know? So there's something really iconic and special when you're marching to the beat of your own drum and really doing your own thing. And I feel like you guys have some potential with something, but it's almost like you're holding yourself back. You're afraid to step into it fully. We got the Three of Swords, Justice. Okay, so you might also need to know that some of these people are going to get karma. I almost feel like sometimes you guys get down in the dumps about this, and you start thinking about how unfairly you've been treated. You start thinking about how, like, how they treated you was really uncool and how they were really mean. And I feel like, you know, that is totally valid, and it is true that how they treated you was completely wrong. But yet definitely all these things are noted by Spirit. Spirit will pay attention to all of this. Spirit will take care of it. Spirit does keep records of who does what. And I also feel like you should know that your success and the power you have to manifest anything you want is going to be the ultimate payback. So them seeing you step into your success and having the kind of life you love and a dream life for yourself, like that's going to be the thing that definitely irritates a lot of these people. So that would be your absolute best revenge. And a lot of them, I feel like you're just leaving them behind and creating new relationships, creating new friendships, creating new connections in your life that are going to be so much more in alignment with you and are going to mean so much more to you than any of these other people. So I wouldn't be spending too much time worrying about them or thinking about what they're going to say or how they're going to react, because it's almost like you have something so much better, people that are going to be so much better and happier for you. And some of you guys are really going to have like the kind of career you really love, the kind of life you really love, and like they're going to be a little tiny memory, you know, like an ant that you don't notice or pay attention to. So this message card says, take responsibility for your life as a creative adventure. How can you live with more meaning, integrity, and truth? So I do think that's a good message for you guys, is like take responsibility, because you only get one life, right? And I think the saddest thing ever is for someone to be looking back at their life and realizing they lived it for someone else, or they lived it for some other goal that really wasn't their dream, that wasn't their life, that wasn't their divine special mission that they got from God, but was something they did for some other person or in pursuit of someone else's approval. Because honestly, that approval doesn't mean much. And when you get approval that maybe you thought you wanted from a family member or a friend or whatever, most of the time it's kind of hollow if it's not because you got it for something that was truly authentic to you. So, you know, understanding that life is short and understanding that like pursuing kind of boring acceptance and coloring inside the lines and getting a cookie from your teacher because you like hung your coat up correctly in a line next to everyone else's isn't really the most fulfilling thing in the world. You know what I mean? Fulfilling is like really serving out your heart, your destiny, your life mission, and knowing you acted authentically from your place of truth, in my opinion. When peace is your priority, negativity cannot exist. How can you see through the eyes of source energy and prioritize your inner peace? And then let's get one more. You create your, okay, 2 came out. You create your own reality. What you want wants you to. What do you want to experience? And this one says, it's all in divine order. Allow. How can you relax into the flow and go with the current of life? So I really feel like there's a message here for you that if you are willing to kind of step out on a ledge a little bit, metaphorically speaking, of course, and take risks, that I feel like you will definitely be supported. You know, what's coming to my mind is the book The Alchemist, and how that whole message of that book is about the universe is conspiring in your favor, but only when you're going after your goal from an authentic place, and you're really, 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 you really mean it, and you're genuinely being brave enough to go after it, and you're not just kind of staying stuck in safety and mediocrity, but you're really, really feeling like it takes a little bit of a risk. You know, that's how it sometimes feels when you're doing something special and big and important, is it like makes you nervous. I feel like a lot of you guys are ready for whatever this next transition is, whatever this next move is. So it's like, if you knew you could create your own reality and do whatever you wanted, what would you be doing? And a lot of you guys need to really think about that. Like, if I could have whatever life I wanted, what would I do? And if it's not what you're doing now, is there a way for you to move in that direction of what you want to be doing? Because your own life mission, only you can hear that call from spirit. Only you can hear that little voice inside of you that's nagging you and pulling you to go in that direction. Only you can know the secret desires of your own heart, your deepest urges, your deepest calling, your deepest interests and loves and whatever. So only you can really step towards that, and you can make the conscious choice to do it. And when you do, you will be supported. Let's end the reading on some astrology dice. Spirit, please give us some astrology dice for pile 2. We got Scorpio. Okay, we got Gemini. And then we got Mars. So there is the energy of Scorpio, and that's kind of twice, with Mars being its ancient ruler, but Aries. And then we have third house Gemini. So again, I feel like what comes through with Scorpio and Mars is so the energy of uncompromising selfishness to a certain extent, even though Scorpio can be about other people's money and shared relationships and stuff like that. But, you know, I feel like both the Mars ruled signs are ultimately pretty selfish. They tend to like what they like, and they don't want to hear from anyone else. You know, that's why Venus is debilitated in both those signs. And so I feel like for you guys, it's really calling on you to not think so much about what others want of you, what others will think of your actions, what others have in their opinions of you, what others have to say about you, whether they liked you, whether they don't like you, whether they think you're awesome, whether they think you're a loser. Who cares? They might be a loser themselves. You know what I mean? Like, why even give it energy? Because a lot of you guys have something so much more powerful and important and impactful in store. And that's how people keep other people small, is by giving them the side eye and being like, oh, I thought that was cringe. Oh, I thought that was lame. Oh, you're not really trying to do that, are you? You don't really think you could have like a viral Instagram account about your paintings, right? Because, I mean, come on. Well, I mean, that's how those viral Instagrams start, right? They all had to start with a dream and with someone posting their content to nobody and having nobody look at it, and having probably, you know, 30 followers at most, and then they kept posting, and then they eventually get found by people, and then they get recommended, and eventually they blow up in some way. And so I feel like for a lot of you guys, you need that selfishness of like, I don't care what you have to say. I don't care if you think it's lame. I don't care if you think it's cringe. I don't care what you have to say about it. Some of you guys are being called to communicate in some way, to use your voice. So whatever that means to you, whatever is coming to mind, you know, there's so many ways for us to communicate, whether it's writing, speaking out loud, singing, just using art as a communication field, like photographs or paintings, or making videos, or making TikToks or Instagrams or whatever. But nowadays we have more opportunities than ever to communicate our perspectives, to share our voice with the world. And I feel like a lot of you guys are being called to do that, to really use your throat chakra. So I think that is what I have for you guys, pile 3. I really hope it resonated. Let me know if it did in the comments. I always, always, always love hearing from you guys, so I would love to know your thoughts. Also, make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button if it did resonate with you, and make sure to subscribe and turn those notifications on. Hit the bell so you can find out as soon as I post. And if you guys would like to see more of my readings, then head on over to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. I just posted one all about how you can fix your love life and get the exact love life you want. So we got some actionable guidance and advice for you guys on how to manifest your kind of dream love life and what guidance spirit has for you on how to go about that. So it was really helpful. But we also have about 50 additional readings about life, love, spirituality, career, relocation, money, 18 plus readings, so many different topics. And you guys suggest new ones, and then we vote on new ones to figure out what readings we're going to do next. So it's very interactive, and there's a lot to do over on Patreon, a lot to watch, a lot of content to go through. So I would really love for you to join us over there. The link for that is underneath the timestamps in the comments and in the description as well. And I hope to see you guys there. And if you guys would like to get more, or not more of my readings, a private one-on-one reading with me, then you can get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and sign up for a half-hour or a full-hour session with me. Have me pull tarot for you, do astrology for you, channel mediumship, or just do open channeling for you. You can have me do a year ahead reading, love reading, career reading. You get to kind of choose what we talk about. So there's a lot to choose from, and I would love to do a reading for you. If you'd like that, go to my website, briarrosetarot.com. Link is in my description for that as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will be back very soon in another reading. Take care, guys, and I'll see you then. Bye. Hey Pile 3, welcome to your reading. So if you guys picked these fries, this is going to be your reading. So I don't know if you can make it out, but actually right there it says potatoes. So there's a lot of detailing, tiny lettering, and then this actually removes and comes out. So super realistic looking. I love the detail on this. Anyways, guys, let's get into your cards. So you guys got psychic abilities, inspiration, willpower, and boundaries. So what's coming to my mind first off is that a lot of you guys might have been feeling very creatively inspired lately. I feel like you guys are getting downloads from spirit. It feels like you have a lot of energy lately. I kind of got a rush of energy as I headed into this reading, and it might specifically have to do with like expressing yourself or sharing some kind of creative gift or doing a creative project, or even I'm also seeing the image of someone cleaning up their home and doing like a spring cleaning. I feel like you're being inspired to make some divine changes to your life that will make you a lot happier. It's almost like someone redecorating their space, or someone being like, you know what, I have this great idea for a novel. I suddenly want to write it all the time. Like it's kind of an Ace of Wands moment where you just feel so energized, so full of inspiration. You just can't wait to get started. You can't wait to get going on it. And I feel like a lot of it has to do with some kind of creative energy. So maybe like home design or writing music or painting or something like that, where you guys are very inspired right now. Even something like, I know this is weird, but like adopting a dog or a pet, but it's almost like a happy, fun life change that to me feels creative or Venusian in nature. So something that you kind of want to do for the sake of it, not necessarily something that you're like, you know what, I should do that, and that makes a lot of sense, and it makes perfect sense with my schedule, and that will help my career in XYZ way, and there's a study that's been done. But like something that you're just like, you know what, I want to go get a pet rabbit. I love rabbits. I've always loved them. I always wanted a pet rabbit, but I never really let myself get one, and I always thought like it didn't make sense to have a pet rabbit, so I wasn't going to get one, and now I'm going to do it. Or I always wanted to write and be a writer, but I never thought I had a chance of publishing a book, but suddenly I have this urge to sit down at my laptop and just start writing something out, or whatever, or I'm gonna pick up photography or something like that. And I feel like you should know that a lot of these creative inspirations you're getting are direct from spirit. You guys might be highly psychic at this time, but it feels like you're filled with this like positive energy that just kind of needs somewhere to go, like needs an outlet, needs something to do with this like burning inspiration you guys have. And I feel like this is such a beautiful time in your life. I wouldn't be surprised if you're going through like a really intense Venus or Jupiter transit where it feels like you just suddenly have like the doors swung open to your mind, where you're filled with ideas, you're filled with inspiration, and whatever you put out in this time, I feel like is going to be really good. Like if you were to write during this time, I feel like you would write something that was really amazing, really engaging. People would really enjoy reading it. Or if you you were to redecorate your space, you would just have all these visions and ideas in your head of ideas for rooms, and they would turn out so good, and all your friends would be like, oh my god, how did you come up with this? This is so creative, this kitchen looks amazing. And I feel like there's something very full of potential in this energy around you guys. I also feel like you guys are becoming a little bit more selfish, and I use that in a good way. I think we should maybe reclaim the word selfish, and my fellow Aries placements can lead the charge in this of making people think of selfish as good, because sometimes you gotta be a little selfish, and Aries knows that, and that's why the sun is exalted in Aries, because we're really supposed to be selfish in this lifetime. That's our life mission. It's not to really live for other people, it's to live for ourselves. And so I feel like a lot of you guys might be feeling selfish, not to say, you know, screw everyone else and I'm only gonna do me, but like so many people, I think, compromise on ideas they have or a vision spirit has put in their heart, or like, I want to do that because of the judgment of others, of wanting to fit in, with a collective, or wanting to get approval from someone in particular, or wanting to make a relationship keep flowing, or just not even giving themselves the space or the mental bandwidth to be like, what do I like? What do I love? And I feel like this is a really special process for you where you're really discovering that, and it's really coming up into your mind of like, you know what, I'd like to do this, or I want to have a purple kitchen and everything purple, and I want purple countertops, and I want a purple rug, and I want a purple refrigerator. And maybe everyone thinks you're crazy when you walk into Home Depot and ask where you can get a purple refrigerator, but I bet it would be really cool looking and probably go viral on Instagram or something, you know? And so there's so much to be gained when we really follow our own heart and we stop paying attention to what other people like. Honestly, a great example of that, just for me, is like my fake food. I really love fake food, and I've had multiple people ask me like, so what's the spiritual significance of fake food, or how did you pick the fake food? And like, as if it was a mastermind thing, and I'm like, oh, I just like fake food, I always have. I didn't honestly think anyone else would like it, but it was like my excuse to buy for readings, where I was like, well, I'll probably film a reading if I can like bait myself into doing it by buying fake food. And the funny thing is, I really didn't think anyone else would like it, and I was just kind of doing whatever on YouTube because like I didn't have any subscribers, and people really like it. And now if I don't have fake food, people will get like kind of not upset, but they'll be like, I missed the fake food or whatever. So so many people loved it, and it's so gratifying, you know, sometimes to find like other people are into the same thing you like, and a lot of people like fake food. So there's so much to be gained. You might not even be able to see like how anyone else would take it, or you might not be able to see the full vision of why you're feeling divinely called to do something, but maybe there's something about that for you, or some spiritual significance for you. And sometimes just I like it is reason enough. Just like, oh, why did you paint your kitchen purple? Oh, I just like the color purple. It doesn't have to be like some super long spiritual reason. Sometimes it can just be as fundamentally quick as I like it, and it's not that deep, but that's what I like. And I feel like you're really being called right now to pay attention to that. You might even be called to like redo your wardrobe, or change your physical appearance in some way, or do your makeup in an unconventional way. But I feel like, you know, you're really being called to like march to the beat of your own drum and step into your own desires, your own wants, and to really know that what you're thinking of putting out there is very special. It is very unique, and there's so much potential in it. So don't second guess yourself, or don't be like, oh, I bet this is really bad, or like, oh, I don't even want to show anyone, this is so cringe. I mean, we all have those moments where we're like, what is this? And again, not to talk ad nauseum about my channel, but I can think of like all the readings I've done that I've been like, I think that was really bad, and it was like weirdly too specific, and I don't think anyone's gonna like that reading. Or like my biggest readings, literally the readings that I was like, I think I maybe should just delete that. Yeah, maybe I should just delete the whole thing, because it was like, I don't think that was good at all. Literally all of those are the biggest, most successful ones. It's crazy. So truly, you know, you don't really necessarily know until you put it out there what people are actually going to like. And I can think of the readings that I put so much effort into that I was like, I know people are going to love this one, that like don't do that great. So we're not necessarily even our own best arbiter of what's good. And sometimes the best thing to do is just act authentically, bring your vision out, and then let people like it or not like it. And that will, you know, as long as you're putting out something authentic from your heart, hopefully it will find the people who appreciate it, who love it, who find joy in it. And that's kind of your tribe, you know, but that's the best way I think to go about it. And so pay attention to these visions you're getting, these callings you guys are feeling, because I feel like there's something very potential in it, you know? Okay, so let's get some more cards. I haven't seen any of these. We got the Garden and the Gate, Financial Constraints, the World, Sixth Chakra, Archangel Metatron, and the Temple Path. So there's something very sacred, and maybe you guys have even been feeling really spiritual lately, or doing some spiritual work lately, or getting more into your spirituality lately. Maybe you've been getting into pulling tarot, but I also feel like there's something where you guys might also be able to learn to, like, your schedule is being freed up for some of this. Like, maybe you've been like, yeah, I always wanted to start a cooking blog, but like, I don't have the time. I have a full-time job. Where would I find the time to like post my cooking videos? And maybe now your boss is going to come in and be like, oh, by the way, like, I don't need you for the final hour of the day, so just take off an hour early or something like that. But I feel like you're gonna have some more free time or freedom in your life to focus on these things you really want. I see you, pile 3, spending more time alone, but not in a bad, lonely way. It's almost like taking walks through nature by yourself, or spending time, like, even just, I feel like for you guys, I wouldn't usually recommend this, but I feel like for some of you guys, it's even like just laying at home on the couch, vegging out and watching like a movie, or watching something really comforting, or watching a TV show, because I feel like a lot of you guys are getting really exciting divine downloads lately. A lot of you guys are kind of leveling up spiritually, and you're getting a lot of clarity as far as your path. And I feel like that you're very creatively fertile right now. It's almost giving me like spring vibes, because spring is when you do the planting, right? Or is that when you do wait, you plant in summer and then you harvest in the fall, right? Or you plant in spring. Anyway, whenever it is, this is like planting season where you're planting. It's not harvest time yet, but it will be shortly. So I feel like you're getting the ideas. It's kind of like matriculating around in your mind, kind of like dough being left to rise, you know, like it's not ready to be cooked yet. It might not even be in the middle of the process, but it's like the very beginning where you're getting the inspiration, and where you're starting to be like, oh, that could be really lucrative. Oh, that could be kind of cool. Oh, that's a really good idea. If you're feeling called at this time in your life to make some big changes, or you're getting suddenly ideas of like, you know, that's a really cool thought. I don't know, that sounds kind of crazy, but that's a cool thought. I feel like you really need to pay attention to a lot of this, because there is so much potential here. And I feel like a lot of this is stuff that it's going to kind of flow to you easily, but it might be a little unexpected. Kind of like, I think J.K. Rowling said she got the idea for Harry Potter that came to her fully formed, and she was just sitting in like a cafe or something, and suddenly she started scribbling down on a napkin like all these names and all these ideas, and it was just like a fully potent idea. And it's almost like the vibe here is like J.K. Rowling before she got the idea, but when she was like going to that cafe every day. And I think she said she got the idea because she was riding on the train and she'd look out at the architecture in Scotland, I think. And so that kind of inspired Hogwarts. And anyway, like kind of those ideas that are just like being put in the recipe yet. It's not ready to go, but we're kind of collecting this stuff, and it's kind of swirling around in your mind, and then you're gonna have it come to you fully formed of like, I need to go here. Some of you guys, this is even traveling or making a move, but this feels really exciting to me. It feels like whatever is gonna come next, I feel like is gonna be so much fun. And a lot of you guys are being called to make more space in your life for more fun. And some of this, you're gonna have to put up boundaries. You might have had family members or friends that I almost feel like some of you guys are very happy-go-lucky by nature, but you might be surrounded by people that sometimes can be a little glum or almost a little depressed, or might be like kind of negative about things. So maybe you would be the type to be like, oh my God, I'm so excited for blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, I don't know. I just think it's going to be really bad because blah, blah, blah. And you end up kind of like tempering down your excitement. And I feel like your guides are like, I want you to return to that place of just like youthful joy, excitement, like positivity. I love the image here on the garden and the gate, where it's just this little girl going through a garden. And this is a card about inner healing of the inner child, but you know, the joy of a little girl like stepping through a beautiful garden. Actually, my grandmother had like this really elaborate, beautiful garden, and I just literally loved going in it. And I would just have all these ideas running through my mind growing up of like being in a book, or you know, some book I'd read, or like The Secret Garden. And it was so inspiring to be surrounded by flowers. And I'm seeing that kind of joyful thing of a little kid skipping through a garden and smelling all the flowers, and like seeing a bumblebee. And I feel like that's the energy your guides really want you to have right now, is like openness, openness to this, openness to the delight. Sometimes, you know, the best ideas are ones that come to you last minute. Like, you know what? I should book a flight to Paris. You know what? Let me go look it up. Oh my God, there's a flight tomorrow that's only X amount of money and it's really inexpensive, and I just found a perfect hotel room and they're both a weird last minute discount. And that's how like spirit communicates to us, is it gives us random guidance, random bursts of inspiration. That's actually why, you know, we always say as mediums, a lot of times it's animals that communicate by like electromagnetic whatever that tend to be really good at giving signs. And it's things like birds, or someone will say I saw a butterfly, and that's because birds and butterflies, they only act on instinct alone. So if you get if you're a bird and you get told to fly by someone's window and then perch on their windowsill for 10 minutes, you're going to do it. You're not going to question it a million times like we as humans do. Like, why would I fly over there? Why would I perch by a window for 10 minutes? What the heck? I have things to do. I have worms to eat. You know what I mean? That's what we as humans would say. But a bird is only instinct. A bee or a butterfly is only instinct. It's only intuition. And so a lot of you guys are being called to really follow that intuition. So if you're in the moment, like on a Saturday, you're like, you know, I really want an ice cream. And then you're like, yeah, but ice cream is full of sugar and it's full of carbs and it's full of like fat and it's, you know, it's non-pasteurized or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, maybe check yourself and be like, why don't I just be open and go walk to get an ice cream and have a really lovely morning walking over there and really sit there and enjoy and taste the ice cream and look up at the sky and the beautiful day, and really taking that time out. I feel like that's what you're being called to do so strong, pile 3. And I just want to emphasize that because a lot of the other piles are dealing with a heavier energy. So honestly, you guys should be feeling really good that your energy is so positive, truly, because I think this time in your life, it's almost like a gentler, easier time than a lot of other people may be going through and dealing with right now. And, you know, you might as well use it. You might as well enjoy all of it. But let's get some more tarot cards as well for you guys. And I do feel like there is a message of how psychic you guys are becoming. And again, pay attention to those feelings in the moment. That's really, you know, how people develop their psychic abilities, is just paying attention, just listening. Because so many people, they might get the vision, they might get the mindset. I mean, think of how many people, like, they were supposed to be at a certain mass tragedy event, you know, like something horrible happened, you know, a plane crash or something like that. And they'll say, yeah, I was supposed to board the plane, but I just suddenly, I don't know, I was weirdly late that day. I just couldn't, I just ended up like dawdling around the house. And even though I knew I was supposed to get my stuff packed and get out the door, I just kept like going through my stuff and finding an old sock and blah, blah, blah. Or, you know, they'll say, it's weird, but my wife, she said I have the worst feeling and she wouldn't let me board the plane. And so much of the time our intuition is right there, but most people don't even listen. And you're being called to really pay attention and listen, especially as your psychic abilities are growing, pile 3. Let's get more cards for pile 3. Spirit, please give me more guidance for pile 3. What do you need? What does pile 3 need to know right now? The Magician. Yeah, you're very psychically powerful right now. I'm telling you, you guys, you're very psychically powerful in this moment. 6 of Swords. I almost feel like you guys are coming into an energy where you're like, I don't have time for anything that's not fun, anything that's not exciting, anything that doesn't feel good, anything that's not easy, anything that's not flowing positively in the direction I want to go. I just heard that quote I think it's Ralph Waldo Emerson, but I could be wrong. But I know they had it on magnets at Whole Foods, so that's how I know this quote. But it was like, go confidently in the direction of your dreams, live the life you've imagined. And I feel like there's like portals opening up for you, pile 3, where like you're really becoming capable of living a dream life for yourself that maybe you only thought you didn't really think was possible, or you only thought was possible for other people, or you were like, me travel, I could never, or like me how open a bakery, I could never. But it's your dream, and you're called to do it, and you feel like you should do it, and it suddenly keeps coming into your mind of like, wouldn't it be fun to own a bakery? And I just perfected my recipe for croissant, so maybe I should do this. And if you have something like that that keeps popping into your mind, popping into your heart, popping into your soul, I feel like your guides want you to know there is potential here. You could build it into something solid, and listen to your guidance, listen to the little dreams. I love it. 6 of Cups energy, so strong, especially with that little kid that was sticking out to me on Garden and the Gate. So, the 6 of Cups is all about kind of childhood pleasures, not even just childhood pleasures, but those easy pleasures that just feel good in the moment. Sixes are such joyful energies. And I feel like for you guys, a lot of this is like just paying attention to the joy, just paying attention to the happiness, just paying attention to like, I'd like to go there, and someone's like, well, that's not really in the budget, or well, I don't know about that, I don't know the temperature, it seems too cold to go now, but you're like, I really want to go. Then go, and don't let anyone else hold you back. And the worst thing is, don't let your own logical mind hold you back. I've been thinking a lot lately about how stupid the logical mind is, and how brilliantly intelligent our intuition is. Our first reaction, our first thought, the first thing we're drawn to. Like, it's interesting lately, they've been talking about how like, this is kind of like, I guess, controversial to say nowadays, but beauty tends to be actually a great marker of health. In fact, people who look younger than their age tend to be younger than their age when you measure their like biomarkers. Like, if someone looks way older than their age, they probably are less healthy than someone. They're probably, like, biologically speaking, they might be chronologically literally only 40, but if they look 45, as far as their body's concerned, they're basically 45. And if they look 35, as far as their health, they're basically 35. And so it's funny because we pick up on that, right? And we can, like, our mind and our brain is processing all their health systems in a way that it's taken the science, like, however many years or centuries to catch up to where the point that you could test someone's biological age. But we're able to see that right away. Someone who has natural facial symmetry, someone who has a lot of like the features that we tend to associate with beauty, tend to be much healthier and have had more health in the womb of their mom, and also to have had healthier ancestors. So those things actually get handed down, and we have an innate reaction when we see like a beautiful person where we're like, oh, they look really good. And you know what? They are good. Genetically speaking, that's a massive sign that the person is like genetically very healthy and has had healthy parents, ancestors, all down the line. And our unconscious mind is picking up on all those things that we probably don't even have words for to speak about. So that's just a small example, but my point is, really pay attention to your tiny little instincts, your interests, your feelings of like, I like that, I want that, and don't let anyone shame you out of that. Like, I think even nowadays people will say, oh, you shouldn't be shallow and care about beauty. But it's like, it's not even about just beauty. I mean, beauty is its own energy. Venus is its own energy. Like, call me shallow, but I'm Venus conjunct Jupiter, and I always want to be surrounded by beautiful things, people, places, period. I always want to be in a pretty restaurant, not an ugly one. You guys know how I feel about the horrible like prison cafeteria interior decorating style they've been doing lately. Beautiful cities with like ornate architecture and statues. There's a reason why they always have the highest rates of tourism, and people want to go to those places. It's because people innately are drawn to beauty, and that's not something we should run away from. It's something we should embrace. And not to go on a tangent about that, but my point is, don't let people tell you that like you have to have a 5 million point business plan, and that you have to have hashed out pros and cons list for absolutely everything, and that you really need to have, 5 different logical reasons before you do it. Sometimes your intuition is so much stronger and it's picking up on a million other things. Just like I said, you would have to be a scientist who has access to like 50 million different blood tests to be like, oh, you're chronologically 5 years younger than your age. But you as a human can look at someone who looks way younger than their age and be like, oh, that person looks about 30 instead of 35. And that's what the test will show, is that they have the health of a 30-year-old. And so it's really funny how intensely intelligent our human subconscious, unconscious mind is, much more powerfully intelligent than the logic, in my opinion. So that's a rant, but it's been something I've been thinking about for a long time, and I really do feel like a lot of you guys are being called to rely on your intuition now and not think things over so logically, but to really trust your unconscious and to really trust your most innate part of yourself and that little voice inside your head, and not be thinking about what you should do, or what makes logical sense, or what this person would tell you, or what that person would react, or what the data says, but what your heart and your inner intuition, that's the most powerful way for you to decide. Bar none, no one else could compare to that little voice inside of you and your intuition. So let's get some of these message cards as well. So, because you guys are really psychic at this time. We got the Moon card as well, the Magician card, very psychic signs. This is not your practice life. Decide. What is your inner voice? Oh my God, what did I just talking about? What is your inner voice telling you about the dream in your heart? Exactly. And that's another point, is like sometimes people will tell you, oh, the odds are against you, or like, oh, there's no way you could do that, or oh, that's impossible, or like, no, I don't think so. I don't think you can do that. And the funny thing about it is, like, even sometimes with YouTube, like I hear people talking about YouTube and they'll say like, oh, like YouTube is dead, or there's no way to grow a channel, or there's no way to do anything. But, for me, I started this channel like 2 years ago, and it's definitely not huge, but I mean, it is possible to make something happen on YouTube. It's always possible. And so I feel like for you guys, it's funny to me how many people will say that, like, oh, it's literally, no, there's no chance, there's no way. But it is. I mean, I'm not like that crazy of an anomaly. It's not like I'm some magical person. So my point is don't listen necessarily to the haters, the naysayers, whatever. Listen to what your voice, your inner compass says, and don't let your mind turn on and start filling it in with like all the, it could go wrong, but what if this horrible thing happens? Oh no, but this blah 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 bad thing. Think about your intuition and how it makes you feel, and whether it feels good, and that will be your guidance. Let's get some more messages for pile 3. So we got, everyone is on their own journey. How can you focus more on your own path? That's another great message for you guys, especially because, like I said, I think you're being called to be a little more selfish. Leader of the light, where are you being called to serve and to support others? And I really think you guys might have some healing abilities within this pile. And this one says, anxiety isn't trying to limit you, but free you from a situation that no longer feels good. What is your discomfort trying to free you from? So that's another thing, is how much we carry these feelings in the body, and how we feel around someone, whether we feel anxious, whether we feel excited, whether we feel happy, good, is such a great compass to decide whether we want someone in our life or whatever. But I feel like a lot of you guys have amazing healing capacities. And as soon as you step into your abilities, as soon as you step into your truest expression of yourself, you are going to be serving the collective just by doing that alone. Whatever you're doing, even if it's something that doesn't seem like healing work on the surface. I mentioned before that, like, I love different cooking channels, even though I'm not like, that's not technically, it wouldn't be called spiritual work. But if someone's feeling sad or whatever, and they put on a nice like cooking show and it makes them feel better, that is spiritual work. It's bringing healing, it's maybe calming someone down or inspiring them to cook healthy. So there's so many different ways to serve the collective. It doesn't have to be doing straight spiritual work, but I feel like as you guys are called to step into your most authentic version of yourself, into these gifts that I feel like are arising in you, you're going to be serving collective just by the that fact alone. And again, I feel like there's a call for you to be really selfish and focus on what feels good to you, what you love, your opinions, your thoughts, your inclinations, and not really care as much about what others have to say and not really give it as much noise in your head. And definitely don't let them live rent free for you and tell you what to do. Let's get some astrology dice to figure out the astrological energies at play for pile 3. So we got Taurus, first house, and Jupiter energy. Wow, I love it. So we got Aries, we've got, oh my God, did I say Taurus or did this somehow switch on me? So we got, sorry, double Aries. Unless, I don't know if I just hallucinated or what happened. I don't know why I said Taurus. But anyway, we have double Aries and then we have Jupiter. So Aries is exactly the energy I was literally just saying, being more selfish and caring more about yourself. As I mentioned at the very beginning of the reading, we can, call in all the Aries to help us with this, although considering they can be kind of selfish, they might not even want to. But I get it. I'm an Aries Venus and I tend to be very self-centered about things I like or love. It's like, I don't even want to hear anyone else's opinion. If someone's like, oh, I think that shirt is kind of I don't like it. I'm like, I don't care at all. Or if someone's like, oh, I don't like that restaurant, I think it's kind of lame. Like, I could not possibly care less. And you kind of have to have that. That's why the sun is exalted in Aries, is because it's about me, what I like, myself. It's not interested in what this person has to say. And I think it's weird how many people are concerned with that. Like how many people will say oh, I was really into this girl, but then I showed I saw that on a reality show. Some guy was like, yeah, I was really into her, but then I showed her photo to all my boys and they said she wasn't that cute, so I lost interest. It's like, what the hell? How could you possibly let your boys make up your mind for you? That is the saddest thing I ever heard in my life. But so many people make up their minds based on that. And I really feel like you're being called to step outside that and focus on, because there's nothing that can create more noise in your head than oh, this person thinks that and that person and that blah, 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 and all the noise of other people's thoughts. The only mission you were put on this life to fulfill is your own. That's why the sun is exalted there. I mean, I can't say that enough, is because the sun is our soul. It is our kind of life mission, our biggest part of ourselves, and it's exalted in Aries. So we're supposed to be selfish. We're supposed to think about us, not anyone else but us. And so that's what you guys are really being called to do, is pay attention to these inclinations that come up to you. And with Jupiter, there's so much potential for expansion with this. There's a lot of potential for wealth, for abundance, and also that travel energy that I was picking up on for some of you guys, where you might be traveling, going to new places, exploring something new, learning something new. But I really feel like there's something so special that wants to come in for you guys, pile 3, and your guides are orchestrating this, and they're sending you little hints, they're sending you little messages, they're sending you a little, I'm seeing Hansel and Gretel throwing birdseed or whatever. I know that's kind of a sad story or a scary one, but it's they're leaving a little trail for you to follow, so pay attention to the things that come up, pay attention to the visions and the urges and the inclinations and the you know what, I should do this, because that is spirit speaking to you so loudly. So anyways, I really hope that resonated. Pile 3, let me know if it did in the comments. I really always love hearing from you guys, and I'm definitely curious about this pile, so I would really love to know if it did resonate with you. And make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button if it did resonate. Also make sure to subscribe and turn those notifications on, hit the bell so you can find out as soon as I post next. And if you guys would like to see more of my readings, then head on over to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. As soon as you sign up, you get access to about 50 additional readings. I just posted one that's all about messages for your love life and how you should improve it, how to get your dream love life. So some actionable guidance and advice from spirit on how you can have the kind of love life you want, how you can manifest or bring in love. So it is a pick a card, and we got some really great advice. But like I said, as soon as you sign up, you get access to all my readings, about 50 readings about life, love, spirituality, career, relocation, money, 18 plus readings, so many different family, friends, so many different subjects to choose from. And you guys suggest new readings and we vote on your suggestions. So it's very interactive and there's a lot to do over on Patreon. So I really hope you'll join us over there. And if you want to sign up, then head to the link underneath the timestamps in my comments and in my description as well. And if you guys would like to get a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and sign up for a half hour or a full hour-long session with me and have me pull tarot for you, read your astrology, channel mediumship, or just do an open channeling for you. You can do a year ahead reading, a love reading, a career reading, ask really whatever questions you want within reason. But yeah, I would love to do a reading for you. So if you want to get that, go to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and sign up for a reading with me. So thank you guys so much for watching. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will see you guys very soon in another reading. Take care, guys. Bye.